Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our webinar about Global Talent Visa. Today we have Zhenya, my colleague, who will be speaking about Global Talent Visa regulations and will provide you with some case studies of those who applied already. And we also have Fedor Pankratov from Goldman Professionals, career consultancy and business startup firm, who also share his experience about global talent and who will also provide us with some more case studies. If you have any questions, please ask them straight away. We have Q&A button on Zoom if you're watching us through Zoom. And you can also comment on Facebook. We'll try to reply you straight away as well. So I'm passing mic to Zhenya.
I'm really excited to talk about this immigration category today, the Global Talent Visa, because this is truly probably my favorite immigration category. It gives you so much flexibility, so much diversity, so many options in terms of what you can do in the UK, only if you qualify, of course. The process is essentially twofold. You've got two stages. The first stage and the most important, the crucial stage, is to obtain an endorsement from the endorsing body. Basically, depending on your area of expertise, you have a choice of endorsing bodies, including the Royal Society, the Royal Academy of Engineering, the British Academy, Arts Council England, Technician. So I'm going to talk in a bit more detail about these endorsing bodies. Arts Council England considers the applications in visual arts, culture, architecture, fashion, film and television. Technician processes applications from digital technology candidates. The Royal Society assesses applications in natural and medical science. The Royal Academy of Engineering considers the applications from engineering candidates. And then we also have the British Academy, that is for social science and humanities candidates. So essentially, once you've prepared the application, the evidence, the information about your background, about your expertise, then you will have to apply to one of those endorsing bodies, and then they will make their assessment and they will either grant an endorsement or they will refuse the application. Obviously, by the very definition, the threshold is quite high. So you need to be talented in one of those areas that I've just mentioned. But I think that what can be quite misleading and off-putting for some people is the word talent. So maybe people sometimes, in my experience anyway, they don't realize how good they are. And they think that they probably won't qualify, so it's not worth a try. And what I do usually with all of my clients when I pick up a case, I always ask a series of questions to establish whether they do have a case for global talent, because surprisingly, sometimes they do, even though they haven't even considered this route. For example, one of the most popular and in-demand applications or areas of expertise at the moment is digital technology. Obviously, with the pandemic and everything else that's been happening since last year, we have seen a growing demand in this area. Basically, the message that the UK has been sending across the globe is that they want to put digital technology at the forefront of everything that they do. It's driving the economy, the growth, so it's beneficial for everyone. You also, one more thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning, you have an option to apply either as a talent or as a promise. And the difference between the two is that If you are a leading talent in your field, then you will probably qualify under the talent category. Whereas you are still in the early stages of your career, then you should probably consider applying under the promise category. But we always assess cases on merit. It really varies and depends on how much experience you have, how talented indeed you are, what sort of credentials and achievements we can demonstrate. And sometimes even very young candidates can apply under the promise subcategory. There are some benefits attached to applying under the the talent category, subcategory. You just basically, it gives you a faster route to settlement in the UK. So provided all the requirements are met, you can apply for settlement in 3 years. Whereas when you apply under the promise subcategory, usually it's a 5-year period of residence that you need to show before you can apply for settlement. So going back to digital technology applications, as a reminder, those will be assessed by TechNation in the UK. If you apply under the talent category, then you need to demonstrate that you are a leading talent in this field. And you will also need to show 2 more requirements. You have a choice of 4 requirements, but you can pick those. You should pick at least 2 of those. You can either show that you have a proven track of innovation in digital technology, or that you've made a substantial contribution. It can be technical, it can be financial, business, entrepreneurial contribution that's really advanced the field, the digital technology field. You can also show that you've gone beyond your immediate occupation. Let's say you are an UI designer for a consulting company or in-house, but you've gone beyond your job description to really advance the sector. So if we can demonstrate that, then you can also rely on this to meet the requirements, to meet the threshold and apply under the Global Talent Group. If you apply under the promise subcategory, then we will only focus on the last 5 years of your career. So basically, when you have more than 5 years of experience, solid experience in the field, you should always consider applying under the Global Talent subcategory. But if you have 5 years of experience or less, then you can and should apply under the promised subcategory. Things like awards, competitions that you may have won will also enhance your chances of success. You will also need to provide your CV and letters of reference from people that you have worked with in the past and that can vouch for your expertise and for the things that you've achieved in your career path. Also, one of the endorsing bodies that I want to cover today is Arts Council England. That's also very, very common. We get a lot of inquiries from people who potentially qualify to apply through this endorsing body. As I've already mentioned, they cover visual arts, literature, fashion, architecture, film and television applications. But the list is not exhaustive. So, for instance, we've had a case where a very talented singing coach has approached us and we were not confident whether she would qualify. She did have some very talented students that have attained international recognition and media coverage, but we didn't know if she could potentially rely on that. And when we approached Arts Council England, they confirmed that yes, she could apply and potentially qualify under this route. So that was a very pleasant surprise. I've had a client who is a street artist. So we're talking graffiti essentially. And he's in the process of securing his endorsement right now. And we think that he has a very good case. So what I'm trying to say, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's always worth checking in with Arts Council England, because the list of professions or occupations is not exhaustive. So they will always welcome more, and they're happy to consider candidates from all walks of life, as long as you are exceptional in one way or another. Also, two other areas that you could secure an endorsement for is EdTech, so we're talking about educational technology, and HR tech, human resources technology. I guess for obvious reasons, those areas are currently on the rise, because I think that education and HR are one of the worst affected areas of business and expertise by the pandemic. So there is a demand for smart technical solutions and tools, and there are very talented people in the digital technology sector that have developed some of those solutions, and they wanted to introduce them to the market. And now they can do that through obtaining a global talent visa. So those are just very few examples. But I hope it gives you an idea, a flavor of what this global talent visa is all about. What I'm also, I would like to encourage everyone to at least consider this route if you feel you may qualify, and then obviously reach out to us and we'll carry out a preliminary assessment of your portfolio, your CV, your case, and then we can advise you on the prospects of success. And if we feel that you qualify, then we can start preparing an application, and hopefully you can utilize your talents in the UK if you so wish, if that's the objective. Anastasia?
Yeah. Thank you, Evgenia, for providing such a detailed overview of the visa. So, Fedor, do you have anything to add in terms of case studies and maybe some examples in your experience on this route?
Sure. So thank you again for inviting me to present today. So all of the cases are within digital technology, and I believe all of them or most of them I worked with standing law team. And just to give a few examples of what works, what doesn't work. If for exceptional promise, for example, as Evgenia mentioned, less than 5 years of experience, right? But I would say if you have at least 1 year of relevant experience, if you think that what you've been doing is doing something with innovation, doing something with digital technology, if you've been working on something relatively innovative, that forms a basis of your application. And then obviously awards improve your application, and also as Evgenia mentioned it. But what's very important is that on the other end of the kind of decision-making process is also another person, and they usually involve a subject matter expert to make the decision. So there is a human aspect of the decision-making, and it's important to make the right impression. What I mean by right impression is that you can say the same thing in a different wording and this will make a huge difference. You can focus on writing, for example, I have a tech company and I've been building it, running it for the past 10 years. And we are working in the telecommunications industry. Or you can start talking about all the incredible innovations you've been working on, at least prototyping some of those. And this makes a difference. Obviously, references are important, both for talent and for the promised subcategories. So referees, from our perspective, obviously you should choose someone at least relatively senior who is a subject matter expert, ideally within your field, ideally within your very niche, and has to be something related to digital or technology or innovation. But suggesting the right wording to the referees, telling them what kind of innovations to focus on is paramount If you just ask someone if you give them a generic template, which you can find on the internet, and let them sign it, chances are it will not stand out. And recently, because of the global pandemic, what I've seen is that people lost jobs, a lot of tech professionals lost jobs, and as a consequence, many of people who worked in tech or with digital decided to apply for the talent visa. So the bar got set a bit higher than previously. Also, there were recently immigration changes to the route. So it's really important to stand out. As the example of that, I think both Anastasia and Evgenia pointed out, is that sometimes you don't realize that you are a talent. Or so, for example, I worked with this company founder, and he said, well, we're not doing anything new. We're doing a company, we're building it all together, it's working. They are quite a big tech firm outside of the UK. Building it on bootstrap capital, and I thought, okay, well, what can we talk about? Are you sure you're not doing anything new? Well, we're using this bit of technology and that bit of technology. And so, well, this is actually not everyday technology. You don't see this in the UK, so we could focus on that. So there's always an angle. And the last thing I want to mention is that sometimes you may think your case is not strong enough, and in that regard, standing law is great at assessing if they think that your case is strong or not strong enough. You can work on that. You can build your case. You can make it stronger. You can, if you think you don't have enough digital experience, go work in startup, go work in fintech, marketing technology, get something to talk about. If you got rejected, and that's another thing, actually that's what I learned from studying law. You get rejected, you ask for feedback, and using this feedback you apply again. Obviously use good lawyers, and then magic happens, you get the visa. So that's I guess that's all I had to say right now.
Thank you. And as Fedor mentioned, if you are unsure about your application, or you have some questions, you started already, for example, and you have some questions about submission, about endorsement, or the visa process itself, please feel free to contact us. You can just forward us your CV and LinkedIn profile for the initial assessment, and then obviously we'll get in touch and let you know our opinion regarding your profile and whether your CV and LinkedIn and experience are suitable for such visa. And obviously, if you have any questions, you can always email us. I'll leave our contact details on Facebook, our email and phone numbers. So please do feel free to get back to us with any questions. And thank you, Evgenia. Thank you, Fedor. And have a nice evening.
Thank you.